Okay, so here today basically what we'll be learning is our agenda will be learning on different types of attacks. Okay, and how that will be pretty much beneficial for you as a security analyst to do your further research in the future when you join as a security analyst. What are the things that you need to look into, right? That's the main key. As a security analyst, you don't want to look into random things which doesn't make sense or which consumes your time, because you know SLA about SLA, right? So at that point in time, your time restrictions will play out a huge role. So you need to be quick, and at the same time, you need to watch and check out relevant informations. Okay, so that's the reason we will be going with different attack vectors. Okay, understanding what are the analysis methods that are involved in that point. Okay, and what are the things that you need to verify when it comes to these attack vectors. Okay, we'll be taking on 2 or 3 attack vectors and analyzing them. But we'll do the actual analysis, a brief analysis when it comes to URL defense. IO. Okay, not URL defense, defense.io. Let's defend.io. Okay, we'll check out few things. Okay, clear guys, what we'll be learning today and why are we learning? Okay. So yesterday I said brute force is there. We can check on brute force, we can check on DDoS, we can check on ransomware alert for today. Okay, cool. Can you see my screen, everyone? Everyone, if they can reply, that will be great. Can you guys see my screen? Yes, awesome. Okay. Okay, so the first point here, okay, let's talk about the alert itself. It's brute force attack, right? We did see about that in the first session, not first, probably in the second session, wherein I showed you a small demo how the brute force works, right? You guys remember it, right? So uh, let's see what are the things that you need to gather when the brute force attack happens, and how are the analysis ways are there. Okay, which is which can be said that in order to rectify or in order to mitigate that particular process, what are the steps and procedures that we do as a security analyst. Okay, so when the alert pops, right, when an alert pops, what are the initial things that you need to take, right? You need to fetch in order to do your further analysis. That will be shown in the orange marker. Okay, so here you can see we check initially, we check for the IP address, source IP address we gather. Okay, if there are multiple source IP address, we'll check on that as well. Okay, but if you see only one source IP, then we'll pretty much be gathering only one particular data. Okay, usually it will be from one particular data itself. Majority of the time we'll see that itself. Okay, second is the username, who's the user and why is the failing, right? Sub error code will be present, which pretty much determines that why this particular event is even processing, right? Brute force attack is basically it will ping on your credentials to log in, right? So if you can remember, we had done a playbook wherein we faced similar situation, right? I hope you remember, right? We used Azure Sentinel, right, for logon failures, right? We checked on that particular playbook, right? You guys remember it, right? So there sub error codes are mentioned 000, which says it is password failure itself from the user, right? You remember it, guys? Yes or no? Did you guys remember? We spoke about that playbook, right? How it works, what exactly are there? Yeah. So those are the things that we'll be gathering, sub error codes. Okay. Also, we'll be checking destination IP, where it's trying to lead, which server, which is trying to be failed. Okay. Logon types, right? What the types of logon events, logon failure events, right? 4624, 4625, 4637, right? Kerberos authentication. So those are the things that we'll be checking. Okay, error code, failure reason, right? Time dot failure. So these are the few of the things that will be already presented by the SIM tool. You'll be gathering all those things to do your further research in any other analysis tool. Okay. So this is also meant for your documentation as well. So you need to be pretty precise on this. Okay. First thing we'll do is what, since this is a brute force attack, we have been seeing non-stop login failures. So we'll raise a ticket. Okay. That is a part of MSSP. If you're in a MSSP organization, you will raise a ticket. But when you're in a in-house SOC, few things will be certainly different. Okay, you will have to deal with it by yourself. Unless it's actually an alert, you won't be raising. Okay. But let's say you are working in an MSSP. So majority of the people who will be working in MSSP itself. So this is mandatory at that point in time. Okay. So raise a ticket with the IT help desk. Okay. That will be a first scenario. Okay. Second is check whether the user has changed the password recently or not. Okay. We have to check whether that user has anytime soon has changed the password or not. Okay. If yes, confirm from the user. User was trying to authenticate from a new password. So basically, what we do is we directly check on the user itself. Okay, if this particular process, uh, no, source IP is the user's IP itself. Okay, somebody might have spoofed here, wherein he is trying to authenticate the user's process. Okay, some backdoor process would have been triggered, wherein the attacker can use his device to log into some other server. So targeted IP basically could be any server or could be any particular process. At the same time, if he has already done a backdoor, okay, that means he's already entered to the system and he's trying to log into some shared drivers. Okay, that could be a possibility. Okay, destination drivers are already within the particular process itself. Okay. User is trying to do it from his account itself. Okay, that's wherein you see multiple login failures. Okay, majority of the time it will be internal itself. Okay, got it? Because without that you cannot enter the particular process. Okay. So we'll directly confirm with the user. So when these things are happening, right, you will directly confirm either through email, either through pinging him, through any other means. You will pretty much ask the user that was this done by you? That's what we check. Do you face any issues while logging in? So these are the things that we check initially, gather few insights how things are revolved around him. Okay. Check whether the user saved the older password in any of the destination. Okay. So basically, we are checking if what happens sometimes is a user might have saved his data through or credentials through what do you say web browser. So you see whenever you click password and write password, it will be saved in the web browser, and you give never, right? You never say, you never tell give it as prompted as yes, save in the web browser, because that is majorly bad. At that point in time, what happens is it will be from the outsource. So you won't see this IP as internal source, which is 10.10.10. You will see it from 168.136, like a public IP you will be seeing. Okay, at that point in time, it is a issue with the browser. That means some session hijacking processes happen wherein the user has saved the data in his normal web browser in Chrome. Okay, a session hijaction has happened while he has saved that particular issue, and the user is trying to log in from that to the different system. Okay, so that could be also the case at that point in time. So we have to check whether there is an old password which is saved in some of its process as well. Okay. Check whether the user has permission to log into that destination or not. So major thing that we check is if the user is trying to log into right? If he has the permissions or not. So what happens majority of the time what we face, we see as a brute force attack, which won't be a brute force attack. The reason is because sometimes people would have forgotten their password. Okay, that is a common scenario wherein 80% of the time it will happen. Okay, 80% of the time it will happen. Okay, another 10% could be that an attacker would be doing this malicious activity. Okay, that is a slim chance. Okay, another 10% is wherein the user is not even having the permission to log into that particular account, wherein he won't be even configured over there. Okay, but still he will be trying to log in. Okay, thinking that he might have an access. Okay, so these are the three case scenario wherein it usually happens. Okay, that's also a 10% chance. Okay, so here the next point is click the reason for failure. Okay, check the reason for failure. User account has been disabled or password incorrect or account locked. So you will see with the process of logon failures and event codes. Okay, the failure reason alert will be there. So as you see. We did see about that 0060D, right? D 6A and 6D, wherein it mentioned that one was due to password failure, right? Password incorrect. That's why it has happened. That was from the user end itself. So we got to know. So at that point in time, it will be 00 some name called 6A 6D. It will be there if password is failed. Account logged out, there will be some other error code. So basically, for every error codes which is already present there, which will be already given by the SIM tool. So basically, you have to identify which kind of error code it is, right? So based on that, you will be able to determine if it was a password incorrect, if it was an account logged out. So you'll be get to know what exactly the process is. If the account is locked, even no matter how many times he tries to authenticate, it will fail itself. Let's say the account should have been only gotten into only 3 times. Okay, more than 3 times, the account will get locked out. So what he would have done, he would have firstly given a password wherein he would have forgotten. Okay, he would have forgotten the password. He would have clicked 3 times. The account got locked out. Now he's trying to click no matter how many times he will try. This will show as a brute force because he's trying to log in, but it's failing. So that kind of procedure will pretty much lead to, based on the algorithm or based on the rule, it will pretty much lead to brute force attack. It is not, it is intentional. He doesn't know. Okay, he doesn't know that he's doing that. His account has been locked out, but pretty much he'll be trying. But when he's trying to do it, it will show that login failure itself. The reason being it has been logged out. So he wouldn't know, but we will definitely know why it has been happening. Okay, either first we'll see this error code. Okay, we'll see the password incorrect error code, then we'll see account locked error code. Okay, so at that point in time we'll get to know that okay, he tried to log in. Okay, the user tried to log in, but there was a password failure, and finally the account got locked. So that could be the reason. Okay, we'll be knowing based on error code. So sometimes what happens is account has been disabled. So that account itself will be disabled. That account itself is not in working process. No matter how many times he tried to do login, it will always get failed because the account itself is disabled. So you'll get to know that the user who is trying to log in, the account itself has been disabled. So we'll update with the user that please wait, that account has been disabled. Please do not log in. Okay, we'll inform them. So these are the few of the things that you can identify through error codes. Okay, identify the frequency or the pattern of authentication failures. Okay, so a long time back we did come across this pretty much same features wherein the pattern is exactly the same. Okay, so someone who had done what you say, who has stolen the credential of a user who he tried to do a password guessing, basically a brute force attack at a certain time itself. Okay, for 30 minutes he would try to do the same process. Okay, at that too at every day at that point in time itself. So this could be two reasons that if the user is trying to this could have been because the user would have logged in at that point in time and he tries to log in at that certain time itself, because the user is trying to log in at that particular time itself and he is trying to log in that particular source. Secondly, the attacker would have basically taken the same way, right? So he tries to log in at the same particular point in time. Okay, there could be two different reasons. Okay, so basically you have to identify the pattern of authentication failures, if it's happening at the exact time and or exact minute, right? So we'll have to check how long this happens. If it's happening only for half an hour, right, that means somebody is trying to do that particular process for certain period of time. There's a pattern over there, right? So pattern will determine the same thing on how if it's an attacker or if it's an user, right? So those are the two things that you can pretty much understand based on the pattern and the frequency of an attack. Okay, it happens day to day. Okay, nobody can brute force in one whole day, but it happens in time to time. So we'll have to check on the time zones as well. Okay, the time zone will determine if the attacker has the same pattern who is trying to do it, because the user does not have time to deal with this process every half an hour, right? But the attacker, he does have its own time. He will take a certain amount of time to put this much amount of time in this particular issue, right? So he'll take half an hour to deal with this, and he'll next day again he'll take another half an hour to deal with this. So it may continue. So that's the reason we'll have to check on the last part. When you check on the log on failure types, if it's a type 2, type 3, etc., with which users were trying to authenticate. Okay, this is one of your let's say assignment. Please learn what exactly is type 2 and type 3. Okay, you will understand why it's required. Okay, this is I would not say this is that important, but for your general understanding sake and for interview sake, this will be pretty much helpful. Okay. Please check on this type 2 and type 3. This is pretty, what is it? Common scenario, okay? With which the attacker is trying to authenticate. So there are few methods that you can log on types, they can determine why it's trying to authenticate, okay? I'm sorry guys, little issue with the internet, okay? Now you're quick. Okay. Don't just tell that it's interactive and network. Okay, just learn little bit more about that. Okay, little bit why, how it happens, what are the methods that are present in that. Okay, cool, awesome. Finally, check if any successful logins are seen either in between or often certain login failures. So here we also check for authentication failures, because we see this one a lot of time. Basically, I see this one a lot of time because since it's a gaming company, our servers are public facing. A lot of time what happens is when people are trying to play games, they will log in many times. And due to some network connectivity issue, because it requires a high bandwidth and people with low bandwidth will certainly fail this request. So we'll see a lot of login attempts in terms of like 200, 300, right, in a week. So we'll see that amount of time of login failures in a week. Okay, so we can't certainly be sure that this is an attacker itself. Okay, but we also can check that on how many session later the certain login was successful. Okay, if the login failure and if the login successful is pretty much the same, that means the user did try to log in at this time and he pretty much succeeded also. And what happens is this was due to network connectivity, we can say, because the same amount of login attempts and login successful events will be already present. Okay, we can determine based on that. But if the login failures is more and you see 1 or 2 login successful attempts, that means that's an issue, because he has tried so many times and he got only 2 times. That's not the case, right? If you know the password and if you try to log in, you will see the same amount of login successful attempts when you try to log in, right? The same, it should be the same. Even though if he fails 1 or twice, it should be the same. Your login count should pretty much match that scenario, right? So that is one of the way we can pretty much understand if the login failures are more compared to login successful rates. So these are the few of the analysis that you can do. In the interview, you don't have to mention all these things. if they ask, nobody will tell, nobody will ask brute force actually. But if in case they have asked, you will have to give some or 2-3 pointers in it. That's pretty much and safely fine. And finally, what you have to do is basically focus on recommendations. Okay, how you can pretty much avoid this brute force attack. Okay, your recommendations are the key. Don't just mention the, in the interview, don't just mention how you can analyze, but also give recommendation for every situation, or if they ask about malware analysis or some other analysis, always tell about the recommendations. Okay, because as a security analyst, it's your job to do so. Okay, so you're not only analyzing, but you're also giving a what do you say, recommendations as well. Okay. Okay. So the first recommendation is, if it's an external IP involved, block it from the firewall. Okay, because there is no reason any external IP needs to be involved in the first place. Okay, for your internal networking data. Okay, there is no way, because obviously when you try to log into some RDP or some other process or some other gateway mechanism, you will never receive an external IP. If it's external IP involved, that means somebody else is trying to log in. As I said earlier, someone who got your password through Google Chrome, through session hijacking, he would have gathered that particular process of that particular event, and he would have traced the network where it's leading to. He would have picked up that destination IP, and he would have tried to log in, basically giving some trial and error method. Okay. So at that point in time, you will see a lot of external IP involved. Okay, only in that moment. So that's the reason, immediately block it in the firewall, because there is no way that an external IP would communicate with us. Okay, that to logging into some account and all. Okay, it doesn't happen. Okay, that's a red flag. Okay. Secondly, ask the user to change the password. So if you see frequent this kinds of issue, the good best practices is to ask the user to change the password. To please reset the password. They will raise a ticket with the AD team to request for a password change, and they will pretty much process that forward. Okay. Later than that, we can close the alert. So that is another reason. I mean, another remediation. Third is, clear the browser data if any passwords are stored. As I said earlier, the reason of an external IP getting hit is because of this. This could be the major reason, one of this. So you will have to clear your history in your browser activity. Okay. Fourth one is, if a successful login is seen after a high number failures, temporarily disable the account and check whether the user is aware of it. So if there is like 500 login attempts and everything got failed, at that point in time, before you try to disable the account, you check with the user first. If user is aware of it, if he was the one who is doing, if he is not the one who is doing it, disable the account. Okay, that's how things work. You'll clarify with the user first and does the process later. Okay. One of the other ways to limit the brute force is to limit the login count. Okay. So if the login count from this particular IP, so IP equals star, that's what you put in your firewall. IP equals to star, and login count less than or equal to 3 or 4. That's it. Okay. Any more than that, it will be failure itself. So it will directly go and fall under failure. Okay. Failure list. So that's how you can pretty much trigger. That's how this login successful rate or high number of failures is pretty much. If you see here, if there is a high number of temporary disable account or a high successful login rate, so not successful. If high failures are there, how that failure happens, basically, if that failure happens, basically what you have to do is you have to limit the authentication request. Okay, login request. So not more than 3 or 4 times you are able to log in. So that's the one of the way that the user will be not able to proceed further. Okay, block that IP directly. Okay, if it's more than so many times, block this particular IP. IP equals to star, login attempt equals less than or equal to 4, action taken, block. Okay, that's how you pretty much deal with the scenario. Okay, understood, guys? Any doubt in this? Brute force. You won't see this much. You don't see this often. Not often. It's pretty rare alert. Okay. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt in this? Yes, no, maybe. Sometime interview ask, tell some use cases of a brute force attack. You can mention the same thing. What are the analysis you have done, right? You can just basically pretend that you have an alert, because even when I was giving interviews for a few other companies, they would have asked few alerts which never came. Okay. So, but I know the scenario, I make up the scenario. Okay. That there was at this time that we did face around a few, brute force attack at a point in time wherein there were a high number of failures. At that point in time, we did so and so sort of alerts. So you can mention the same analysis process that we did and same recommendation that we did to pretty much block that particular event. Okay, so you can make up. Okay, you can make up things. Not every time you'll be, even if you're working as a security analyst also, not every time you'll be seeing alerts which is favorable to you, right? Sometimes when you go to the interview, they might ask some different alerts. At that point in time, you have to be quick and react to that particular answer, right? So you know the analysis method here, exactly how it works, right? So you can just make up saying that we did face the pretty much a sort of brute force attack wherein there was high number of failures in terms of user. So we gathered so and so information, usually did this sort of analysis, and finally we gave the recommendation to change the password, and finally disable the temporarily disable the account initially, and then further analyze the process and ask the user to change the password. Okay, this is how you can pretty much reply. Okay, because the analysis is already here. Okay, so you can follow the same. That's why I said you, right? Interviewer will ask the questions, so you don't have to tell each and everything. You just mention few of the pointers and give the recommendation. That's why I meant. Okay, so how you reply, in the sense you can reply in this manner. There is no any specific manner. You reply how you work. Okay, you don't have to mention anything else. Just do the analysis. Tell the analysis what kind of login failures you take. If it's a type 2, type 3, you will check on the error code, you'll check on the login failure reasons, right? So these are the things what you gather, you can tell the same thing, because this is how you analyze as a security analyst. Okay, so you'll be answering similar way. That's the reason we are talking about alerts, so that this will be helpful for your interview, because you will not tell any other use case. You will tell this use case itself. Okay, related to brute force, you will tell this itself. Okay, got it? Hopefully you are clear. Okay, that's the reason we are doing this analysis, not only for your understanding, but also for the interviewer's sake. You'll be getting detailed analysis of this. Okay, please take a screenshot so that you can pretty much understand this process, learn about this multiple times, and finally if when you're confident enough to talk about it, you'll be much comfortable when you read it out loud, right? So learn about this every day, like at least understand about this, all the process, how it happens. If you don't know about certain things, research about it. Internet is pretty vast, right? So you can learn. As I said, type 2 and type 3, they will ask a few questions related to type 2, type 3. So that's the reason you pretty much learn about that. How much time minimum see, depends on your analysis, right? I can't tell you what kind of analysis you will do and what kind of analysis other people do, right? Everybody's analysis are pretty different. So some may work within 45 minutes, some may take 1 hour, right? Some may take 1.5 hour, right? At that point in time, it will be difficult. Sometimes what happens is the user only will be not be available, right? So we can't even confirm from that user. We'll drop a mail, we'll wait for him. So these kinds of scenario will happen time to time. So you can't pretty much be sure that at what point in time this will be released. But this will be a P3 alert. Okay, this is a P3 alert. So you don't have to worry about the process. Okay, you don't have to worry about this thing much. So you can easily work 2 to 3 hours. It's more than enough for you to, like, it's actually way too much time 2 to 3 hours. We'll be waiting for the user's login. If to get any confirmation or to get any ticket confirmations, we'll be waiting for that reason on hold. We'll put it on hold, the ticket on hold, and we'll be working on that. So that's the reason. There'll be plenty of time to analyze. Okay, there is no minimum or maximum time point in time. Okay, since it's a P3 alert, so it's not an issue. Okay. Priority time is different, analysis time is different. No, priority is one and the same, but this brute force attack and all, it won't be considered falling under P1 category. Okay, because majority of the time it will be already blocked. Okay, so you just have to do your analysis. That's all. That's why it's a P3 alert. If it's a P1 alert and all, you'll have to resolve that no matter what in 30 minutes. Okay, that's how priority and SLA is pretty much the same. But since this is considered as a major threat at this era, okay, maybe 15 years back or 10 years back, this brute force attack would have been the major thing, right? Because we didn't have that much sophisticated technology at that point in time to, algorithms were not that improved so that you can detect and track at certain point in time. But right now it's been pretty sophisticated. The attacks are being evolved, and at the same time the tools are also being evolved. So this will pretty much will block by tool itself, but it's our analysis that we to confirm and clarify, we'll do it. Okay, so it will pretty much fall under the P3. Don't have to worry about it. Okay. Oh, did they share? Okay, because earlier no, it was said that I was not supposed to share, so that's the reason I didn't share this. Okay, I'll share it later. Okay, I'll share it later once it is in there. I didn't know because for me they said that don't share this, so I didn't share. Okay. If others are sharing, I'll send it to you. Okay. It's in WhatsApp. Oh, it's already in WhatsApp. Okay. Maybe you can check it out there. Right? It's already shared. Yeah, I can grab it from there. It's the same thing. Okay. All right. So, okay, awesome, guys. Cool. Hopefully got that. Okay, so now let's talk about DDoS. Okay, not DOS, because DOS won't serve any purpose for you guys. You know why, right? Can you tell the difference between DDoS and DOS? Thanks, Deepak, for the help. Okay, cool, awesome. Can you tell the difference between DDoS and DOS? Anybody? Actually, everyone. Let's get involved. What 29 people's here? 29 people's are there here. So please, everyone, do the honors. DOS and DDoS. Anybody having any idea about that? It's okay if you're wrong also, I won't judge you. You are free to answer anything or question anything. Okay, there are no restrictions. Yes, exactly. Mohammed is right. DDoS usually happens in that way. Okay, Pooja is right. Single device, okay. One attack to one target. Okay, awesome. So 3 of them got it right. Okay, cool. Wait. Request, yes, exactly. It will be a ping request, authentication request. Rahul says, okay, yes, exactly. Create a botnet. Okay. It's an automated one. User don't have to do, like with the help of bot itself, they'll try to send, right? Yeah, the help of bot. Because user never will sit and keep pinging requests. So they'll create a bot where which can communicate to the destination. The destination IP is fed to the bot and is shared with the different devices, and the bot will then take over, wherein at a certain period of till a certain period of time it keeps on sending authentications. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we'll definitely look at DDoS itself, because the reason being DOS won't suffice. DOS attack, you can block DOS with your eyes closed. Okay, so there is no point in DOS attack. DOS and DDoS does the same thing, but DDoS is in a high scale, so a lot of many other computers will be involved. Okay, both sends traffic, but DDoS sends more traffic compared to DOS. So DOS is, let's say, limit. There is a certain limit what it can do and what it can send. A single device cannot send too much of traffic as a DDoS can, right? Because DOS, it uses only one device. DDoS uses more devices, so a lot of devices will be there. Okay. Flood the targeted resource. Yes. Okay. Cool. Now let's talk about DDoS. Let me try to split the page. I split it somewhere else. Let me click here. Hopefully you can see, right? You can see right now. I think this much page is enough for me to explain. Okay. Not DOS. Okay. So first and foremost thing what we'll be gathering is DDoS ka source IP. Okay, so it says source IP, but don't gather source IP because you'll never know. Because since it's DDoS, they mentioned that to grab the source IP. Okay, yes, if it's a single machine, if it's sitting, yeah, you can pretty much grab the source IP. But when it's DDoS, you certainly cannot grab the source IP, because the source IP will be in thousands, 10,000s, 20,000 range. Okay, so no way there is a chance in grabbing source IP. Okay, you'll definitely know when the alert will trigger. Okay, but what we can certainly do is we can see what kind of destination IP it's trying to hit. Okay, usually it will be only one destination IP. Usually it will be a server. Okay, a major server itself. Because we'll be seeing this a lot, like in a day-to-day basis. Every time we'll be seeing, okay, every day there is no skip of DDoS attack for us. Okay, so destination IP, we'll see what kind of destination IPs that they are hitting, which server they are trying to target. We'll see what is the destination port, through which destination port they are trying to hit. Okay. Affected services is in the critical or public facing. So you'll see the severity of the server, what kind of services that particular server is offering, or if it's in public facing, or if it's a critical like web servers or your database servers. If they are trying to hit the database servers and all, then it will be a major problem. Okay, so we'll have to check which exact services they are affecting and how it's facing. Okay, and the time. Okay, DDoS time behavior will be observed. If it's a pattern, okay, if they are trying to hit every 2 hours, or if it's constant 3 hours, or if it's more than that. Okay, we'll seeing the time frame of an attack vector. Okay. It says for DOS, raise a P1 ticket to the firewall team queue to the server team. Okay, so to the server team, they are creating a ticket. Okay, But what happens is when there are certain, I'll tell you one word in short for a DOS. Okay, if you can see my screen, when that certain DOS attack is happening from one particular IP, okay, if it's happening, a DOS attack is being happening in a particular IP, it can be easily blocked. The reason is being because uh, there will be certain limitation for a particular hit. Okay, there is a certain limitation for a particular ping. So IP cannot ping a particular device not more than 3 times. So there will be a certain restrictions and limitation for that particular IP, wherein not more than certain times it will hit. I'm just giving 3 as an certain example, but seriously, I'm also not sure what kind of extent it will be. Maybe 3, maybe 4, no, maybe 5. Okay, maybe certain. Okay, not more than that particular time, an IP will be able to hit that particular server. Okay, uh, pretty much critical servers I'm talking about. Okay, not machines, critical servers. Okay, it'll be certainly very limited. Okay, at that point in time, what happens is when if it's a DOS attack, right? If it's a DOS attack, it'll be blocked right then and there only. So you don't see a high number of traffic. Okay, you understand, right? Nowadays, it's built in such a way that these kinds of code can be implemented very easily, and this will be blocked immediately. So you don't have to worry about DOS. Okay, you don't have to worry about the DOS. Okay, certain other things are there here, which will definitely resemble DDoS. It will certainly refer DDoS because, as you guys said, it's not from one IP. It's not from one IP that's the connection is being hitting. It's from 10,000 to 20,000. So let's assume 20,000 machines are trying to hit a particular server, and the minimum time frame is 3 to 4 times. It's still a huge deal of payload, right? The payload is pretty high because 4 times 20,000 into 4 times how much it is? How much it is? 80,000, right? 80,000 requests, and that is coming. Thousands of requests might be coming in seconds. So under what? Under a minute, it will be hitting so much. I'm just giving 20,000 as a normal base. It will definitely be more than this. Okay, it will definitely be more than this. When the DDoS attack is happening and it's targeted to some specific servers, then they won't go with just 20,000. Just 20,000, I just gave you an example, but it will be way more than that. It will be way more than that. Okay, so the frequency of an alert will be even more. Okay, the frequency of an alert will be even more. So it will multiply depending on how many times you can log in. Okay, so it keeps on pinging. Even apart from that, the server is already taking load from the outside servers. If it's a public facing, let's say it's an Amazon web server, people are trying to doing shopping from it. Already it's facing so many requests from different use case from different machines. Apart from that, you're also doing a DDoS attack for that, then it's hell only. Okay, let's why take this thing. Let's take our gaming server itself. Our gaming server, since it's already taking like lakhs of requests. Okay, lakhs of requests is from the users because our server will be pretty busy. It will be pretty peaking and it will be too much noisy. Okay, because all the people during weekends, Saturday, Sunday, and all, everybody will be playing itself. So we see a high number of peak in the weekends. Okay, the attacker already knows about this common situation. Okay, that traffic will be very high. Apart from the lakhs together request that we are seeing, if they try to do a DDoS attack at that point also, this system will die only direct, right? It will not survive. Already it's taking so much load with all this people who are playing in this server. If they do a DDoS attack for that, then so it will kill. It will get killed, right? So that's why there are certain restrictions and limitations at that point in time. Okay, so we'll learn what exactly from here. Okay, from here we'll learn what exactly DDoS will pretty much do. Okay, if it's related to DOS, I'll shout it out. This is the DOS. Don't take up this point, but you can certainly get to know. Okay, as I said earlier, DOS can be easily prevented. It can be easily blocked also. Okay, sometimes it will automatically get blocked. Sometimes we can block it by ourselves. DOS, right? So if you see high number of connections coming from one particular device, we'll obviously psych out like what is happening here. right? We'll research about that particular IP. We'll get to know that this some random DOS attack will block that IP. It's pretty plain and simple. Once blocking, it will no longer serve any purpose. Okay, so it's pretty easy. But the problem is DDoS. Okay, the problem is DDoS. So here, if the intensity is too high, open a bridge call. Okay, we'll open a bridge call to resume the process. So what happens when it comes to a bridge call? Anybody knows what exactly is bridge call? Anybody knows? What's the bridge call? Guys, can you tell what exactly is the bridge call? Okay. Adding on stakeholders, yes. Okay. Service desk initiative users. Okay. Okay. People are right. Anybody who wants to join? That's it. Others don't know. Yeah, that is there, but who is involved? What exactly happens in a bridge call? Who is involved. So there are two different case scenarios here. Let's say if it's a well-versed company, okay, it's a top tier company, they usually don't get involved with DDoS because if it's a top tier company, they have certain tools which can help them to avoid this particular process, like Arbor. Everybody knows about Arbor, right? Arbor is specifically meant to tackle DDoS attacks. Okay, so this Arbor is way too costlier. Okay, monthly itself it will take way too much money compared to normal. So this general devices like SIM and all, you will be paying some amount monthly, right? You'll be paying some amount monthly. Let's chuma take 30,000 rupees. Okay, chuma. Okay, just to get you a brief idea. So, but when it comes to Arbor and all, you will be paying maybe 6 to 7 times more than that. Okay, 6 to 7 times. This itself is way too much. Okay, I'm just giving an example. This is nothing I know, but just to give you an example, I'm telling. It will be more than 3 lakhs I know. Okay, so not as a startup or a mid-tier company will not be able to afford this. Okay, will not be able to afford this, right? Yeah, Arbor is a tool. It's a tool. It's specifically meant to tackle DDoS. Okay, it's you can look it up. Okay, you can after the class you can look it up and check. There are a few detailed things that are mentioned in the Arbor website, and it's pretty amazing also. So it has automatic way to tackle DDoS as well. Okay, so these top tier companies won't be doing any bridge calls. Okay, they won't be doing any bridge calls. Bridge calls are from startup and mid-tier companies. Okay, they'll be pretty much be doing bridge call because because major of the company won't be having Arbor. Okay, they won't be having Arbor, but they definitely they have other tools also. Okay, they have other tools, but still, if they find the this is way too much and we need some external support, at that time they'll request for a bridge call. Okay, so what happens is when in the bridge call, they'll gather all the team. Networking team will be there, firewall team will be there. Okay, apart from that, this high-end VIP peoples will be there. Like as I said, some stakeholders or some specific person will be there from their end. Okay, director, manager. Okay, uh, and also this ISP service providers also will be there. ISP service providers will also be there. Okay, in the bridge call. Okay, so I'll come to this later. Okay, so these are the ways wherein bridge call will be there. So with the help of ISP service provider also, they'll try to help they'll request for the help from ISP service providers to tackle the network, because like whatever the connection that are coming from your home will naturally lead to ISP service providers, then reach to somewhere else, right? Then reach to somewhere else. So these people will play the major key. So when times when a company is in trouble, they'll try to during DDoS, they'll try to reach out to ISP service providers to block it from their end. Okay, multiple ISP to limit the process from their end, so that it will be a little easier for your servers to handle, and at the same time you will also implement few other rules. Okay, so this can be pretty much be avoided with the help of ISP. So they will also play a major role with them. Okay, but not any confidential information are not stated, but from their end, whatever the IPs that they generally do the task, if they get to know that some DDoS attack is happening, they'll try to prevent it. Okay, with their side. So no, I don't know what kind of exact specification that they use. I never been on a bridge call, so I'm not sure what exact technique they use basically to limit the process. But yes, they will do. But I'll definitely tell you what kind of limitations that we'll be providing from our end. Okay. So that is the bridge call intensity. Okay, so wherein different process are there, different teams will be there, different people will be present in order to do this particular bridge call. Okay, definitely this is not needed. Okay, this is for only DOS. Okay, this is not meant for DDoS. Okay, we'll skip that. Okay. Obviously, we'll check the time and behavior of the DDoS attack. At what time it certainly came. What was the time frame? Okay, how long it went. Okay, as I said, I think I said earlier for you guys that an attack will go up to, let's say, 5 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes, wherein the data will get affected, and it can produce up to 100 gigs. Only 100 gigs of amount. Okay, that's 100 GB of attack can be seen with just 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, but same time this will be short and powerful. As I said, I think you guys remember, right? I did mention about this, right? But same, sometimes what happens is there'll be a slow attack. Same 100 gigs can go up to 24 hours also, but it'll be a small long and less intense. Less intensity. So you'll see that the attack started from morning 10 o'clock. Okay, and you see that small peak. That means it doesn't reach to 100 direct like this. This will, like the graph shows, it will reach like this 100 and it will come down. That's the time frame. Okay, but when it comes to small attacks, it will go like this. Where is it? Okay, it will go like this. This is the threshold. Okay, this is the base. Okay, this is the base. This is the time frame. Okay, this will go like this. It won't peak, but it will go like this. So this is the attack vector. Attack. Okay, so it will go like this for 24 hours, 10 p.m. to next day 10 p.m. Sorry, 10 a.m. So it will go up to 24 hours. So, but it will be the same size, but it will go in a slow attack. Small attack vectors we'll see. Okay, this is the reason. Sometimes what they do is they try to do this because for not so that we cannot know. But if you have right tool in place, you will obviously get to know. But their majority of the concern is that slowly they'll try to do. Sometimes the attacker who doesn't have that much patience, they'll do a short and powerful attack like this. At 15 minutes only, you can see a lot of pull. Okay, hoping that this short amount of data is enough to bust the server. Okay, that means what I'm talking is to render the server useless. Okay, all of a sudden the highest we saw in our organization was 400 gigs, and this is a lot. Okay, in some company, if they are saying 400 gigs apart from the server which is already being utilized, this is way too much. Okay, this is way too much. Okay, so this is the reason because Apart from this, the server already will be consuming so much. Okay, the server is already taking so much. Apart from that, if you see some high number of 400 gigs of attacks, then it's a problem, right? So these are the certain situations. Okay. So check the time frame. Okay, time frame is there. Try accessing the services as the user if it's still up and running. So one of the way that you can see if you don't have a health checking tool. So in certain companies there'll be health checking tool for every server. So every server's data will be logged by one particular machine, wherein you can check different health based on if it's working all right, if it's doing normal functionality. I never saw this, so I don't know exactly how the scenario works, but there are few health checking tools wherein it will show the health. Okay, if it's green, something like that, it will show in a graph basis. If the health is low, if the health is high, if there's a peak at a certain request. Okay, basically, if you know about F5, if you see F5 firewall networks, it will pretty much show in that manner itself. Okay, so pretty much it will show the graph itself. But sometimes what happens is if you do not have the tool, you can basically log in as a user to check the intensity. If it's loading very late, if it's failing, that means the attack is being successful. That means the user, general user, customer will not be able to do it. So that means you have a trouble. I'm not too sure about that, man. I'm not too sure about the health checking tool and all, but they use that I came across when I was working in some of the major alerts. They were checking on few health tools. Okay, but I do not have access to it. Okay, so that is checked by this networking team. Okay, they have the access and they only use that tool, and that tool is not even visible in my Okta. Okay, so I don't even know what exactly that is. But they have a certain process to verify if that particular server is all right. Okay, but not every company uses that, but majorly companies. But I can try to find out the tool name. Okay, it was not necessary for me to learn about that and all, because it's just a health checking, health monitoring. It just monitors that. Okay, but basically you can check up that as well. Okay, or else you can do it through user. So that's a natural and more common way. Okay, more common way to check. Let's say if Amazon is down, people who has Amazon account, they'll try to log in and see if it's working. It's one of the way to determine if the server is all right. So if the request is successful, then it's fine. If its DDoS attack is happening and the requests are not being going through, that means everybody else is facing the same thing. So that time we have to be aware of it. But these Amazons will also have some monitoring tool to check on the status of their server. Okay. Sometimes what happens, the reason I'm not sure is because sometimes it's not an open source tool. They'll build it by themselves. Okay, it'll be internally built itself. So few tools will be internally built for the monitoring of this process. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, so run netstat. Okay, that's a command to check the waiting connections. Okay, so if you know the netstat command -a, if you have Linux systems and if you can check that, you will see how many network connections are still in the waiting period. So what I mean by waiting period is, so you know about the request, right? All the request will be coming and it will authenticate synac. So synac will be going on. So this DDoS attack will keep on sending syn, right? This keep on will be sending syn, so to the server. So what happens? Server will host that particular in their library and keep it in the storage for a certain period of time. Okay. Whenever the process is coming, it will again send synac, but no ACK will be given, but it will be keep on sending synac. Okay. Okay. There won't be any connection established. But at the same time, if the peak is too high, few which are coming will be underweight. You know about this process, right? You would have seen in somewhere else also. This will be in a waiting period. These are the requests that after acceptance of all these things, it will be in waiting period. Okay, so this we can also check. We are already seeing so much of attacks, and still how many IPs are still in the waiting period. waiting connections. That means there once all these will be synact, then this will come under process. So there will be still more in the waiting period. So that's what this is trying to check. Basically, NetStrat will check how many connections will be in under waiting period, and it will be in terms of thousands. Okay. We never do that for DOS because it's only one system, right? Who's trying to ping. So no worries on this. Okay, but when it comes to DDoS, lot of connections will be under waiting period. Okay, check the bandwidth consumption on the network monitoring tools. Okay, NatJoS and there are some other tools which can say the network monitoring tools which contains bandwidth. Okay, you can pretty much understand how many. That's what I told about gigs, which I mentioned gigs right here, 100 gigs, 200 gigs, 400 gigs. That is the bandwidth consumption that is been taking over. Okay, that they can check. Okay, finally, we will check on identify the port if the action is seeing on the single port or multiple port. So it may differ. There will be multiple port that can access to this particular server. There will be 2-3 ports at least opened for this connection, because if the port is blasted, then it's a problem. So in few organizations there will be multiple ports that will be open for this particular request to have we handle. We have to see which port is coming from, or all the ports are pretty much open to for the attack. So that's what we are checking. Okay, so these are few of the things that we will pretty much check when it comes to a DDoS attack. Okay, these are the few of the things. Now let's come focus on what are the strategies and mitigation techniques that we will follow in order to stop that particular process. Okay. Yeah. So this is one of the way reduce the connection of the wait. This is what even I do in my organization. Basically, limit the connection request from the waiting period, because if we limit the connection in the waiting period, we won't see much attacks. Okay. Yes, it's a bad thing for the customer also, because what if they are also trying to connect there and they are also under waiting period, and if we limit there also we'll limit it, right? But it's one of the steps we have to take, so that it's better to wait the customer for 10 to 15 minutes rather than to wait for him for one whole day. Right, 10 to 15 minutes of downtime is much better than one whole day, right? So we are making the possibilities are as limited as possible, right? Because if we don't limit this particular connection, this will keep on hitting every time, and the server itself will die. So it will take a lot of time to fix this, that, these, so many shit we have to go through, and it will take one entire day to do the. Again, we have to launch backup servers, that, this, so many things. It's better we make sure that at least since when there is a DDoS attack, at least we'll take some downtime of 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. Finally we'll get to, because DDoS is a major thing to deal with. Okay. Not everybody would want to face a DDoS attack. Okay. That in such a large scale. So it's better to take a downtime. Okay. The reason being, we are doing this, gathering this downtime, because let's say the load capacity itself is less. Let's say they have only 500 gigs. Yeah, session timings. What happens is when you try, even when you try to ping right to some process, it'll fetch, but few will be under wait to further connection. It'll be in the waiting connection in the session. Let's say session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4, session 5, and it has the capacity to grab only till session 5, and rest of the things will be under wait list. So the other sessions will be under wait list. Once this 5 is done, it will come back to this 5. So this 5 will be under process. Okay, and rest of the 5 will be under wait. So like that it works. Okay, so it's pretty much like that. So yeah, so reduce the waiting connection. Okay, we have to make sure that we reduce the waiting connection, so that the load will be pretty much less compared to earlier. Okay, when you reduce the waiting list process, it will pretty much drop the process itself. So reduce, we say that let's the waiting period, just an example, let's say there is 5 requests, which is pretty high for a server. It is not, but we know, let's keep it 500. Okay, 500 is pretty high for a particular process to run. We don't need another 15,000 requests on waiting. Okay, this is way too low for this particular to handle. So what we do is we only tell, okay, we need only 1,000. We don't need high number of waiting requests. We'll only keep it as 1,000. Just giving an example. Okay, we need only this much, so that other will be dropped. it won't be fetched. That's when we see 404 error. 404 error or 502 error. These are the kind of error we see because our is not even in the waiting period. Our connection were dropped. So this we'll see. This 404 is server removed itself. That website itself is removed. It's been taken down, but we see 502 error or something like that. Okay, few of the errors we see because connection server to server timed out. So when you see server timed out and all, this will because it won't be in that waiting period. It won't be in that process. It's directly dropping your session. So that's when you see these kinds of errors. Okay, got it. All right. So reduce the connection time that we know. Temporarily add more servers to the load balancer. Right. So we in the I think in the second class or third class maybe in the third class. Yesterday? No, day before yesterday, second class series. We spoke about load balancer, right, guys? Hopefully you remember load balancer, how it will be helpful to split the load to different servers. Yes, remember? Yes. Yes, no, you forgot anything? Yes, right. So we learned about cluster also will do the same thing in terms of instances. But at the same time, we also learned that load balancer would do a lot of things, right? So in every organization, there will be load balancers which will be using. We do have it. We do have Arbor as well at the same time, but we have load balancer also because we will be expecting a very high number of traffic hitting to our servers. Okay, since we deal with the DDoS in a day-to-day basis, our major priority of process will be saving our data or saving our servers. So we'll be having load balancers. Okay. So as you can see, there will be load balancers which will help to split the traffic. Okay, we'll check in the load balancer how it's been working, how much connections are we seeing, how much attack vectors are being seen, how much load is there in that particular server. So these are the certain things that we'll be handling. So temporarily add the servers to the load balancer. Okay. But for us, it will be always in the load balancer itself. We'll be checking in the load balancer itself because every time the traffic is high for us. Okay. So last thing is, third thing is limit the number of connection from an IP. Okay. So as I said earlier, a particular IP, as I said, DDoS and all, limit the connections of connection to be only 3 or 4 times. Okay. Don't give it for a server. We'll never give it to 20 times like some system not 20 times. I'm sorry. Just giving an example, 20 times or 8 times, like we used to give connection to our machine, right? We'll give 8, few people will give 8 and all, but that's not a good thing. Keep it 5 and all for the machine, but for servers and all, we only keep it 3. Okay, 3 or 4 max. Okay, so limiting the connections will also serve the limited process, right? Rate limit, yeah, rate limit. Okay, limiting the number of connections for the particular IP. Okay. Fourth thing is open a bridge call with the networking team IPS. Yeah. So you can see here it also mentions that networking team IPS, application team, SOC lead, manager, team server team, everybody will be there in the bridge call. So to get understanding that this has to be limited. So IPS will pretty much IPS service providers will block it from their end. They have certain other methods and technology that they can block it from their end, which they'll be blocking. And from our side, we can block it from our end. So this bridge call will pretty much be able to discuss when this happened, what is the amount of, ISP, sorry, IPS, I'm telling, ISP, Internet Service Providers. Okay, you don't know ISP service providers? You know, right? Internet Service Providers. That's the one how you connect to different websites, right? Your Internet Service Providers will allot you IP, right? Your Internet ISP service providers will allot you IP. So they are the one who is allotting you the IP, right? So these people are the people who we get in touch with at this certain point in time. Okay. So these ISP service providers are the ones like Airtel, BSNL, yeah. But those will be pretty different. It's just an example as ISP service providers like Airtel, BSNL, but there are different others as well. Okay, so these are the teams that they will come across in order to do the process. Okay, Got it? Understood? All right. So that's one of the way to do a bridge call. Fifth thing is block the top 5 to 10 IP addresses aggressively involving with the attack. So we'll check what kind of IP address uh, is pretty much hitting. But what happens is in the DDoS attack, every process will be under the same process. But sometimes what happens is the attacker would have focused more on few of the machines to send large number of payload. At that point in time, if there are any top IPs, generally there won't be. It will all be in a split way decision. But if there are, we can pretty much block the first few layers to reduce the load. But it doesn't happen because because of the rate limit, right? Because of the rate limit, every IP, no matter which IP it's coming from, it will be only there for 3 times. Okay, we have set the rate limit to only 3 times. So no matter how top 5 is there, it will only be 3 times. The rest of the also will be 3 times. So this will pretty much involve in DOS. Okay, so DOS attack, we can pretty much tell that this is a rate limit. But this won't be sufficing for our answer. So don't mention this. Okay, don't mention this. Prepare to bring up in the DR service. So DR service is nothing but disaster recovery service. Disaster recovery. This is a backup option if in case that particular server goes down. Our disaster recovery will be there too if this is server is died, right? So immediately we'll launch a backup server and we'll bring a disaster recovery. So if some data will be lost in that particular server, we can pretty much recover it using a disaster recovery. So disaster recovery servers will come up wherein backup servers will get implemented. Recovery step will get further in processing placed. Okay. Finally, use anti-DDoS solutions like Arbor. So as I said, Arbor is one of the major DDoS prevention mechanism tool. Prevention tool, which pretty much blocks the DDoS at by itself. It doesn't need any internet service providers to do so. You don't need a bridge call to do so. But definitely, and Arbor is definitely enough to handle the situation because Arbor is a very, very, very powerful tool and it is one of the top tool, let's say top tool to prevent DDoS attack. So if somebody asks you how you can consider Arbor is one of the options, but everybody knows that not every organization can use Arbor. Okay, so this is one of the few of the process of a DDoS. Okay, understood, guys? Any doubts? In my throat. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt, guys? No doubt. Everybody understood, right? How DDoS pretty much works and what are the steps you'll be taking? Yes. Right? Okay. I see only one answer from Chandru. There are others. You guys are there, right? Or you guys are sleeping? You guys are there, right? Others? Where are others? 30 people. Where are others? Yes, no, don't know, maybe. Yes. Okay. Where are others, guys? It's so hard to type yes or what. What other job you have? At least to give some 2 hours to this session. No, we are conducting for your sake, and there is no reply. See, get hyped only when you ask questions, only when you reply to us, right? When you are mute and when you don't reply anything, our energy level will become low, and our means of giving you answers will become even low, because you are not responding. So I will think, hey, this guy doesn't bother, so I'll do whatever I want, right? I'll limit myself. That's what the vibe that you are giving me, right? When you answer frequently, that means you are also interested, so I'll give you some extra tips and extra beneficial things to you. But if you do not know, I'll just stick on to my what you say syllabus, and I'll just move out, right? That's what I do, right? So from your end also, I need some response, right? Not only for, I'm talking about myself, even people who are actually teaching you, they are investing their time also, right? You're not only you are investing to your time, they are also investing their time. So let's respect each other, and whenever we try to do few things, we do. So whenever you ask questions, we'll reply, right? So same thing, when I ask you any questions, please reply, right? Let there be a mutual respect at the same time. Let people be humble to each other, right? That's what we are focusing. So any people in SOC experts are the most humble people out there, who are ready to give out their best, right? So as you are trying to learn something out, let also you also put some effort, right? So whenever people ask you anything, not only me I'm talking about, okay, but people who are teaching you, please reply so that they don't feel weird, right? They will be like, hey, what is happening, nobody is replying to me, they'll feel low, right? So don't do that, okay? I know few people will be sleeping, listening to that, muting that and sleeping peacefully, right? So I know that. Okay, so it's okay, but they do sleep because they have recordings in hand, right? So if they didn't have recordings, they would have psyched out, right? So let's keep let's be humble, right? No matter which position you are in, being humble and being gentle to your colleagues and to your people is the most key factor, right? Don't behave like managers now only. Okay, I know managers are pretty much Kadus people, but don't behave like that. Okay, not everyone I'm talking, but few will be there. They'll be their ego will go to their head. Too much they'll play just because they're a manager. So you guys don't do like that. Hopefully nobody's a manager here. Okay, okay, I'm not cursing you. Okay, if you're there, I'm sorry. Okay, cool. All right, not every people are bad. Awesome. All right. If there is any manager here, please let me know. Okay, I'll apologize. I didn't mean you. I meant some other people. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. So we will continue. I'm thinking let's do this ransomware. Don't tell me, Veerappa. Awesome. Like you want a detailed explanation that who are Kado's managers. Come on, I'm not gonna give you that. Okay. Okay, we'll keep this alert for next day. Okay. Okay, and we'll work on this tool which I said, open source tool. Okay, let me just grab it. If time permits, I'll explain, but it will take a lot of time. It will take at least half an hour to explain the ransomware alert. So we'll keep it for the next day. So every day we'll cover one alert so that every alerts are covered, and you will get the proper understanding on how things are. Okay. Awesome. Why this is not opening? Okay. So you also can use this particular tool. It is meant for, like, let's say as a user-friendly process to investigate on few things, right? It's not that this is accurate and this is all kinds of logs are there. No, there are certainly many logs missing here, because this is not an enterprise device or an enterprise log source which fetches different log sources. These are typically general alerts that are out there, which these tools will fetch and it will give you. Okay, there aren't a major attack here, but these are just few tools just to, for let's say freshers, people who want to learn a little bit more about what kind of analysis the corporate would do. This is out there little. Okay, at least you'll get an idea how things are there and how you can analyze on different stuff. But this is very limited, wherein even endpoint is also embedded here, even mailbox is also embedded, threat intelligence also embedded, SIM monitoring also embedded. So everything is there in one system. Okay, in one software. Okay, this is the application which is let's defend.io. If you click this let's defend.io, you should pretty much visit that particular site. I'll just share it to you. When you are free or whenever you feel like you want to do it or so, you can pretty much visit this website and pretty much try out. Okay, so I think every 5 days they'll launch some new alerts. So the alerts are pretty high here. So this will pretty much give you a rough idea on how you can analyze things, on how you can do a detailed thing. Okay, you can assign it to yourself also. So once you take ownership, it will be pretty much like the SIM tool itself. So once you assign the ownership for yourself, yeah, you need to register. It's a free registry. Okay, so you can just give your email ID or give some create a new setup, and it will be easy to good to go. Okay, they don't charge you for anything. If you want to become a VIP member, yes, they'll charge you. VIP members can only access major of the logs. So as you can see here in my screen, this possible ransomware activity which I wanted to do, but I can't assign it. You should become a VIP member. Click this VIP member. So I have to pay for it. So no way in hell I'm paying that. Okay. People, they're like, see, they're sending notifications also. Greedy people there. Okay, I don't want. Okay, so yeah, you can pretty much be utilize this. As you can see, not much of information is there. No way in hell there'll be only this much amount of information. It'll be way more than that. But at least you get an idea, right? Like what you have to do, where is there, what and all things are there. So this is like a brief touch for you. Okay, like a warm-up sort for the major league. Okay, so now you can take ownership. If you take ownership, the alert which are there here will disappear. Okay, there are so many people who are using just to get an idea of freshers or some other people who want to know what kind of alerts they might understand, or if they want to talk about some particular alert, they'll grab it from here and talk about it in the future. So it's pretty much like that. Okay, once you take the ownership, it will go to your investigation channel, wherein it will be yours. Nobody else can have it. It will be yours. Okay, so it's better that every time when you log on, you get out and get there some good particular alert, right? This is a closed alert. I have closed more, but it won't be there for a long period of time. So pretty much I won't close much because there are some really good alerts out there, but once you close, right, you can't reinvestigate in there. So I was a little foolish, and while I was teaching to a few other students, normally I don't do, but when I was teaching, I just closed it. Okay, I don't do that, but I closed that particular alert, so I can't revert it back also. So it's already closed. So I never close these alerts. I'll just explain you, and I'll just give you the result. But I can see how you can identify that my results are accurate. You can see here it's a 2 positive, and I got +5 extra point because I was right with my decision. I consider this as a 2 positive alert. That means this was an issue. Okay, this was an issue which has affected on the process, and I got +5 points. Okay, I was not aware of this up till earlier also, but once I closed this alert accidentally, I got this alert that it was a 2 positive, and I got +5 points. So you will get points also in this. Okay, so we'll be discussing about this, but I won't be closing this because these are too good alerts to close, and I'll lose information about this. So I'll just keep it open. I have kept it open. Okay. So if you can, sorry guys. So as you can see here, there is an alert which says, who am I command detected for request body. So that's a web-based attack basically. So you can see it's pretty much as a Excuse me, yes, a minute. So as you can see here, there are different severity, pretty much like typical, what do you say, SIM would do, right? There are severity, there are date, there are rule name, there are event types, there are actions, right? So what kind of actions you can do, close alerts or create an cases. You can create a case to, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, it's fine. No, 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 no. No. Okay. All right. So you can create a case as well to launch it in the playbook and all. But for that also it will be pretty limited information. You need to have a VIB pass, but we don't need that. We don't need that. Okay, to create a case and all. Creating a case is required to document few stuff. Okay, where you can document, where you can change few process. That we won't do. Okay, it's not required also. Right now we'll just analyze few of the alerts. Okay, so I have this particular issue wherein it's a web attack. Okay, it's considered as a web attack based on the type of an attack. So we have very limited information. Okay, we don't have anything apart from this. We'll work with what we have. Okay, so we'll work with what we have. So now what I'm doing is I'm copying the destination IP. Okay, I'm copying the destination IP, and where you can check this destination IP, you can basically check in the you can check in log management also, or you can check in endpoint also, right? Because endpoint is the source person who's trying to trigger this, right? So we'll get to know much more detail in the endpoint. Okay, so now I've already opened the page and kept it out. Okay, so this is the endpoint, how it looks like. When you search this particular, when you paste this, it will pretty much give you the result. Okay, so you can see here that's a web server which was trying to access. Okay, so we'll click on this. We'll see, as you can see here, this name is who am I, right? Who am I command. There is a command that got executed. Okay, you can, if you see your option, there is also a request which is containment. So if this is really a major case wherein this has to be resolved, you can contain that particular process itself. So this is a server, so we don't contain the server because everything will get messed up if you contain the server. But if it's a machine, then we can do a containment. We can put it under containment request so that further research can be analyzed from that. So you can see here the OS is Ubuntu. Okay, this is a web server, this is a host name, this is a server which got affected from this IP. Okay, this is a destination IP. So you can see a little bit of more details over here. The primary process was this, and you can also see the last login period. Okay, you can see the login period also last. But at the beginning, what we have to check is when was this initiated in the first place. So it was 28th February 4:12 a.m. So we have to make sure this particular thing matches around this. Okay. So we'll come here, we'll check on endpoint security, we'll check on browsing history. If something was wrong, went on wrong with the browser, because this is a command and it's also web traffic. So you can, in Ubuntu, you know that it's not a GUI. Okay, containment in the sense you are pretty much isolating itself. Okay, making sure that no other further requests are coming. Okay, but we can't do containment for a server. The reason being, only when it's critical, when you say that this is going to die, at that point we'll do containment, or else we won't do any containment, because naturally you need that server, right? So you can't contain it. Okay, wherein it will be separated and it will be isolated. So we cannot do that. Okay, so we don't do that generally. Only if the severity is way too high, we do that. Okay, so since this was the web traffic, we'll check the web attack. We'll check the browsing history. As again, you can see there aren't much informations. Okay, depends on alert to alert. There'll be way too much history. Even in few alerts, there'll be less history on few events. But we'll check on different process. So you can see there are only Dockers. It's hitting for Dockers, hitting for Namecheap, right? It's trying to install few certifications, but none of them meet the time frame that we checked. Okay, so this is not there. We'll see the command. So this was a command that got executed. As you can see here, a command was detected. So let's check on command. So if you can see here, there is who am I. Okay, the command did get executed around that particular time frame itself. So you can see, you can correlate. This was the exact time frame that this command got triggered. So you see that there was a command line argument that got triggered with who am I. Okay, now let's understand what exactly is who am I. Okay, I just also put it in. Okay, I don't want to search too much and all. So what is who am I? Who am I is basically, it's pretty much like a command. It's basically a command that is found in the Linux-like operating system. So like Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is pretty much like a Linux-based operating system, right? So this is the command that was found. So what does this command do? Basically, if you can do a little bit of more research about this, you will understand what exactly is going on. Okay, so it says group and privilege information of the user is being fetched, is being logged. That means some privilege information, who is having access to what and who is having access to which group. So basically, some of the privilege escalation has been taken over. Okay, that is what this particular who am I command reflects to. So this was related to some command related to fetching out some information related to permissions or privileges or groups. Okay, so we are sure that this was the command that did get executed. Okay, you also see in networks if something is there. No, nothing is there. Process list. You see the number of processes that are there in the history, right? So you can see who is there, and it released the root. It was triggered by root. That means it is not from some random person. It is from root user itself. That means the user itself did this process. Okay, but for some reason it is categorizing as malicious behavior. Okay, because some alert, if it's not triggered for a certain long period of time, and if you do that particular activity, behavioral based analysis will get triggered, and it will fetch that this alert was not, this process was not even there at till certain point in time, but now it's been triggering. Right, it's not a day-to-day activity. That's why it's getting triggering. So behavior-based activity will also kick in at that point in time. Okay, so now we have searched the endpoint. Next, we'll check on logs. Okay, so what we do, we copy that particular in the destination. Where is the destination? This is the destination. You can clear it. You can add it. Okay, you can do a search. So you can see there are different destination address that are hitting from this same IP, right? Source address, if you can see, 61, right? 87, ending with 87, ending with 87. Okay, so these are all firewall logs, which can see, as you can see, the destination is 443. It's pretty much a web traffic. Okay, web traffic is pretty much is a secure web traffic. Okay, at the same time, it's not 80, it's a 443. That means it's a secure HTTPS. Okay, so so you have to take the time frame. So there are many close views at this certain time, but it was triggered at this point in time. So we'll fetch it. So you can see the request URL was for this IP, right? As you can, this is the destination IP for a video. So some command was triggered to fetch some video. Okay, some to fetch some video or to some with that video. So Ubuntu is not like it's not like our Windows, right? Wherein you can go here peacefully, you can type video and it will give you video, right? It's not like that. You have to run certain commands to check out a video or check out some process. Okay, so it's pretty much like that. But this privilege escalation, maybe in the shared drive there are some videos that the user might have accessed. Though that could be a scenario wherein the user might have triggered the process. Okay. The command used to fetch few things. So this is a post method. That means he is trying to access. This is not get. That means the user never got the information. He just tried to request it. Post and get, right? Post, put and get. So you need to learn about that a little bit more. Get is when you get. This is the one he is trying to put an argument to. Okay, post. It's trying to fetch few things. Okay, HTTP response size is 912. Okay, it's pretty low. It's okay. HTTP response is 200. Okay, response rate is 200, and there are a few parameters as well. You can see here there are a few parameters that are used here. So let's check what is this parameter. Certainly there are no parameters involved in this process. Okay, and there are not any much user information. Okay, so here, where is it, man? Okay, so this is the parameter that is used. So the parameters are pretty low. It's just that it just fetches that what exactly it wants. So we'll check what exactly this parameter is. Hopefully we'll get certain parameters. This parameter is pretty much related to group users itself. Okay, and this is pretty much related to group users. So as you can see here, this parameter is triggered from so and so. See, as you can see here, there aren't much information, but you can see this was triggered from C, right? As you can see, this was triggered from C. So you know this is fetching from the sysmon 64. That means it is fetching from the Windows itself. It was a Windows command. Okay, it was not some major other command. It was from a Windows command itself. Okay, and this is checking to few privileges. Okay, this is not meant to access anything or meant to hit on anything. It's just asking for a group name. Maybe the user just wanted to see what exactly that group requires, right? Which permissions or which parameters are required. Maybe that is the case. Okay, so since there are not much details coming into place here, we cannot conclude a exact location, right? What exactly is going through. But with what limited information that we have, we can pretty much conclude that this is not something major that we have to break our heads on, because this is just a, what you say, command for, as you can see here, this is just a display user, display user group and privilege informations that are pretty much gathered, right? This can be done only through internal authentication means, and we know this was done through internal process itself. As you can see here, this command pretty much see my private is done through internally access as well. Okay, login user privilege. So this is the internal, as you can see, and there is C. Okay, the privilege command parameters that was asked the user to was from C. So you can conclude that this was from the internal movement that was being hitting, right? So we can pretty much conclude this is pretty much a false positive alert. Okay, even though the situations are high, you know, not every high requests are supposed to be true positive. Okay, not everything will be true positive. Based on your research, you can pretty much understand what exactly it's going on. But if you would have gotten few more information, we would have been able to understand what exactly has been happening and where it's trying to lead to, because this is not leading anywhere, right? So there are not certain information. That's why I said earlier, it's very limited to informations. So it only says what exactly happened here. So after that, what happened, where did it lead to, before what happened, what command got executed, nothing is there here. So few things we can expect that only few things will be there. That's why I'd say it's not truly, you can't conclude at certain times wherein you will not find few of the things that you wanna learn or you wanna identify. Okay, it will be pretty much limited. Okay. 1 second. This is the hash. If that doesn't have the hash also, as you can see here, or else if there was any hash, we could have copied it and we could have put it in here to compare it with the 30 intelligence tool. Let's see. So this IP is also near there. This is the destination IP that doesn't also, no matching records found. Okay, no matching records were found. So this doesn't have enough information, because the threat intelligence itself, it doesn't have any information out there. Okay. So these are the few of the steps that you can involve, but it's not that every time you'll face these kinds of lame alerts. No, it will still give, no. This is 172 is not a private process, right? I'll show you. See here, right? This is clean. Wireless total says it's clean. So IP doesn't have any issue. IP is good to go, but this it's showing no match record because the threat intelligence is lame here. So it's not being updated every once in a while. So it will remain as if it is because it's open source, right? So not many people will involve with this and keep it upgraded. Maybe if you're a VIP user, maybe you have the chance to check on a little bit more about this in threat intelligence. If they can feed VirusTotal with this, then it will be pretty much helpful because VirusTotal is definitely giving some good response here, right? So, but when it comes to other things, you may not, right? So it is not being able to feed. Okay. If it was 10, it's a different case. If it's 10, it's internal, but it's a different case. Okay. Threat intelligence. It's not showing anything. Earlier, I used to get hash different alerts. We could have checked here. Few will definitely give you, but majority of the things you won't. But the end reason here is the conclusion here is it's not that we are certainly expecting some good things, right? Yeah, this is from my private. You can see here, right? So you see here, it's private, right? But still it's giving the value, right? It's giving the value. You can see the detail. But still it will give you the value. Okay, if it's 10.10.10, if it's internal, then it won't give any value. But apart from that, if this is there, it will give you the value. Okay, 10.10.10 and all, it will not give you. I'll put some random IP also, it won't give you. Okay, where is it? So the point here is this is just there to give you a brief understanding how the things are evolved, what kind of alert you may see, what kind of process you may see, and what kind of other process will be there. Okay, but it definitely won't give you the necessary detail of what exactly is going on, right? Because there are no details present here, and it will be pretty much difficult to identify a particular alert with less number of details. But it's not the main reason that which I showed you. It's just that you can see what kind of alerts will be triggered in, right? You can see what kind of alert is triggered in and what kind of details that you can go through here. Not to conclude here, not to conclude. Yes, certain alerts will definitely be able to conclude here, but not everything, right? Certain you'll get lucky wherein you'll get all the details there. As I said, as I see here, after carefully researching so many things, I could conclude that this was pretty much a true positive alert. Okay, but these kinds of alerts are pretty much straight. It's already closed, so there is no reason that I can fetch there also. Okay, so it's pretty much like that. So you can't tell that this is a bad one or a good one, right? It's pretty much that. Okay. What was your question, man? Yeah, that is private. Okay. 172 to certain subnet, it's private. Okay, not everything will be private, but 172 to 16 to 172 to 31 is considered as a private. Okay, cool, understood. So in every class there are certain private IP addresses that are mentioned over there. Okay, there are certain private IP addresses that are mentioned over there. Cool. Yeah, it's internal. It's private. 170 to 16 to 31, I believe. 31 range. Not sure about what subnet till what subnet, but it will be 16 to 32. So sorry, 31. Okay, I'll take that attendance. So any doubt, guys? So you can pretty much register here and get few details. The end goal of the reason I showed you because just to understand what kind of alert are there, and there is a tool called Let's Defend which gives you little bit of more alert and pretty much a small frame. Let's say 20% of the actual, not even 20%, I guess, but it's out there. 15 to 20% of the cases that are there, it'll pretty much give you the information that these kinds of alert we might see, right? But it's not 100% that you'll get all the details here because it's not enterprise network and you are not fetching any logs here, right? And not all the logs are being resided over here. it will only fetch only certain details, and with that you have to clarify. And not as a security analyst, you can't clarify with limited information, right? But the endpoint is there are certain things which give you comfort that yes, these are logs are there. You can do something about it. So you can check. You can do a rough analysis sort, so that will be useful for you, right? It's a good thing that at least they have this open source tool wherein you can play around. This is meant to morely to play around. It's not something serious, just to for your little bit of extra knowledge that you get from here and to play around. That's all. Okay, that's why I wanted to show you. I'll see if I get a really good alert, then it's fine. A few of the alerts are really messed up. Nothing is there here. Earlier, it was never used to be. You used to get some good kind of alerts, but right now, all lame, half-baked alerts we get. Okay, how to know it's a critical alert to contain the server? See, if it's a web-based attack and if it's hitting the server, and if you see different code scripts that are being hit on the particular process, if you see that a code is already embedded in the web server, at that point in time it becomes a critical server, because you can't let the the users to access it, because if the code is already embedded, if you see that the our web server is already compromised, or our website is already compromised, web application is already compromised, that means a code has been embedded and it's been maliciously configured. So you can't let the users come and log in there, right? That's when where we can contain it and pretty much need a certain permission to contain and pretty much resolve the issue. Okay, you need definitely, you can't, as I said, and certainly there isn't any option that easily to, as you can see here, where is it? Where was that thing? There isn't any option in real live environment to contain the request by your own. Okay, this is not there. This option itself will not be there. Okay, this option only will not be there. It's not that easy to just click here and contain, host contain. No, this is there for your endpoint security. Okay, yeah, this is an endpoint security device. So this is not a server, since it's saying as a server. Yes, if it's a machine, you can compromise it. Okay, you can contain it. As you can see here, I have contained this process. Okay, but usually we don't do these kinds of events so often. Okay, only if you're very sure that these situations have happened to the endpoint tool, then only endpoint security process, then only will contain. Will not contain any servers. No, this requires very huge permissions. So many things have to deal with it. We can't generally click and contain the entire server. No, server is not there. Okay, but if it's a machine, here, and that has been somehow been affected by the process, maybe a malware attack has been triggered and malware has compromised that particular device, then we can pretty much contain. But certainly there isn't something called containment over there. Like that option is not there, but this is just there to give you a brief explanation how you can contain. There are exceptions, rules, where you can add some exceptions to that particular folder or the file, where it cannot be specified to that particular point in time, not the entire process. It will be redirected to some specific pointers. Maybe that, maybe this folder, maybe this file path, maybe this hash exemption need to be added. So those kinds of things will be bit more detailed. But here it's not like that. It just says entire host only, let's contain it. No, there won't be such actions. Okay, it won't be there in your endpoint security. Okay, it won't be there. Maybe in some other process you can contain it, but not in here. Endpoint you won't get. Okay, and we don't contain it also. Like, we don't do that unless it's a critical scenario. Okay. Let me log into. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt you have? Let me go on with the attendance. Okay. Hopefully today you understood the different attack vectors. Okay, kind of alerts. Sorry, different kind of alerts. The reason I started, I'm sorry, every time. The reason I spoke a little bit more about DDoS is because not everybody are aware and will be able to handle DDoS attack. But if you do know how it's working processor and how things are worked in it, it will be pretty much easier for you guys to understand. Okay, it will be pretty much easier to talk about it, learn about it, and it's a good plus point that you have come across DDoS attack, because not everybody would face DDoS attack and be able to talk about it, right? So that's the reason I spent a little bit of more time when it comes to DDoS, because when you can mention it in the interview, you will also have certain knowledges that you wanna display or talk about it when it comes to DDoS. So they'll think that you are really good at learning few things, at least in understanding point in time, point in perspective. Okay, understood, guys? Any question? Any doubts? And this is just to play around, guys. This is not something like 100% that yes, you will get a lot of things from here and you'll learn a lot. No, this is just to give you a basic understanding on how things are worked on, how different things are there, and nothing will be like this. Okay, this is everything is integrated here, but it won't be like that. As I said earlier, everything is jumbled up here. So naturally, everything is different tool. Okay, nothing will be there like this. Okay, this is just a open source tool just to play around. Okay, understood, guys? Any questions, any doubts? Please do that assignment. Okay, learn about vulnerability management also. Okay, that's a small assignment, again an assignment for you, apart from the type 2 and type 3 logon failures. Apart from that, this is also an assignment. Okay, vulnerability management, you need to understand what exactly vulnerability management is and what are the tools involved with it. Okay, like Nessus, Wireshark, so many things, how you can contain vulnerability management and its life cycle. Okay, got it? Will you guys do? Yes, no? Please don't forget, guys. Okay, vulnerability management, Nessus, cycles of vulnerability management. Okay, the process of vulnerability management, and the type 2 and type 3 logon failures. Okay, I hope everybody does this. Okay, awesome, guys. Take care. Thanks for the session. We'll catch up on Monday. Okay, cool, guys. Okay, take it. Take care. Yeah, bye bye. Happy weekend, guys. Happy weekend. Take care. Bye bye bye. Take care.